work in the Championship Center at Seaman. We work as student athletic trainers for the football team, and it's basically training room work and working in our new indoor practice facility. A typical day, we get up around 5:30 and we're in by 6 a.m. We start out by going into the training room and checking in with the trainers and see what we need to do for the day. But typically we'll then go into the IPF and prep for practice. So we'll make water bottles and water gallons and then bring out all of the emergency equipment for practice. And after that we'll have practice. It'll go on for an hour, hour and a half, and then we break down practice, put everything away, clean, and go back into the training room to just do some daily training room stuff. We do all of the athletes' rehab, post-practice treatments, their injury prevention, injury care, and their basically we're the first responders to the first responders for them. The boys in our workplace typically do more of the heavy lifting and moving. We have giant trunks that we travel with that are typically pretty heavy, so they will move those and deal with that stuff.
And what about women?
Women tend to do more of the hands-on stuff. We do the taping, the rehabilitation, the more easy but also more technical things than what guys do. I guess when deciding who gets to travel for games, gender comes into consideration a lot because there are only so many of us that get to go. There's usually 3 students that get picked out of the 14 of us. And if we're going to Nebraska or Stanford or Cal, we have to have the 3 strongest people to get the equipment on and off the field as quickly as possible, pre and post game. So pushing trunks up the hill, sometimes they're going to choose to take only men to do that versus taking women as well. We're treated really well by our coworkers. It's hard because we are also college students with college athletes, so there's a very gray area between friends with athletes and being a professional in front of them on their side, but it is our responsibility to be as professional as possible. I would say the same thing, but since we are women working with a team of entirely men, it is different. So compared to each one, men and women, I would say that they try very hard to treat us equally, but in some situations it's just not as easy to treat us the exact same because women sometimes just aren't as physically capable as men to do a task that needs to be done, and vice versa, where some of the men on our team aren't as technically skilled or trained as well as other women that can do a certain task. I've been with the football team for 2.5 years now. I started when I was a sophomore and then I am now a senior. It's definitely very different than working with all female athletes. Men typically have a different way of approaching each other than they do with women, but as a whole the football team is usually pretty respectful of us and the fact that we are women in their world of football. I'd say they treat us differently, yeah, just because we are women and that we're not one of them, so we definitely are treated a little bit differently. I would say that they treat men more like they're bros than they would treat us, but that's only because I think that they have something to compare with them and an even ground to compare with them, whereas it's harder to relate with us women because we are on different pages. I've definitely felt awkward or uncomfortable at football sometimes, but for the most part I always love being there, and that's why I've stayed with it.